Okay. So, yeah. A very warm welcome and a good evening to everyone. So, basically, just a brief intro about ourselves. So, we are Quickstep. So, Quickstep is basically an initiative from the industry expert people. So, in this initiative, what we are planning is to train people in core technologies and to give the insights of the internals of the programming languages. Okay. So, today we have with us our expert Harishankar. So he's an expert on C++ and these core technologies. So he comes here with a vast experience of 15 years, and he has worked across separate domains like avionics, STB middleware, and speech recognition. And because of his passion and uh, and his willingness to teach people and to train people, so he has taken up this thing as a full-time thing for himself. And currently, he's pursuing this thing with us in Quickstep, and currently he's also participating in various programming communities across the globe. So without wasting much more time, I'll just hand over the session to Hari, who can take over and continue from here.
Okay, so thanks Rohan first of all, and thank you everyone for joining. So Rohan has already provided enough introduction for me, so I'll not waste much time into my introduction and things like that. So yeah, as Rohan said, right, so nowadays there is quite a lot discussion on the programming side and things like that, lot more programming languages and all those things are around, right? So in this initiative, we just we are trying to build a kind of a real programmers community. When I say programmers or programming community, in the sense, our objective is to really show or to let people know what exactly programming is. Programming, the kind of perception currently being created into the market that, okay, if you learn some programming and few programmings, if you spend some hours of time into the programming, then you become a programmer. It's not like that. So, that was the reason we wanted to, run this kind of, the idea behind this workshop is to give you a glimpse like what exactly programming means, or and what goes behind the scene when you work on the any specific things, or for example, when let's take an example of any programming language, but the fundamental remains the same, right? So until you don't know, or you don't know how to take care of those fundamentals, programming, whatever you learn, it remains merely syntax, not more than that, right? So it's very important, whatever programming language you use, the fundamentals behind that, or what goes behind the scene, you should know very well. And that is the currently missing in kind of thing. So that is what we wanted to showcase to you. So overall, in this today's session, we kept it quite short. So we have divided this session into just 3 parts. So currently I will show you what exactly problem happens when you write a code with these small code examples, and what kind of memory we are going to, what kind of concept or fundamental concept we are going to target today. Then based on that, we will see what kind of things actually happens when you write such kind of code. And finally, we will deep dive into the examples, with the code examples, what goes behind the scene. And then finally, for a couple of minutes, we will be having our question answer session. Yeah. So I'll just start with a very simple example which I posted into our group. So if you can see, just I have a function, void function. It is not returning anything. There are 4 instructions only, and I am invoking this function from the main. Okay, so if and for this overall exercise, I will be using Visual Studio 2019 Community Edition, and and I will be using C++ language. There is nothing specific to C++ into it, but because my primary passion and primary language is C++. So you can very well, all those concepts are very well true with all other programming languages. Wherever you program, right? So yeah, so if I just run this program, So you will see something very interesting. I mean, I have not done anything. So this is a breakpoint I placed here. So if I just go, I mean, over these steps, so you can see all those 4 steps, everything is fine. And then the moment, I mean, after executing those 4 steps, you can see, I mean, we got one exception or basically an error, which says stack-based buffer overrun. Okay. So this is, I mean, you might be wondering, I mean, in the WhatsApp group, when I posted this question, many people replied segmentation fault. And I mean, because we are trying to access, invalid memory location. So if you see, when I executed these 4 statements, I mean, it never crashed, right? When I tried to execute those 4 statements, it didn't crash. So it crashed when I was trying to, come out of the function, basically after this curly brace, right? And this, at that point of time, it says stack buffer overrun. So what goes behind the scene? Why it is like that? So that is what we are going to discuss today. And it is very important to understand, because that is all about the, programming. So let me share, I mean, what I have just prepared a very small PPT, and I'll just take you through this. And then after we will, come back to our actual examples, and we will see how these kind of problems happens and what are the problem with those kind of things. I mean, when you write such kind of code, and how to solve those kind of problems. Okay. So now in this, at the left hand side, you can see I have a couple of lines of code where initially I have a function called foo. In this, I have one variable integer I equal to 50, and then a couple of lines into the main function, and then I'm invoking this function here, right? So here you can see, I mean, so whenever we compile our program and we try to execute, right? So this program gets loaded into the memory. So when program gets loaded into the memory, so everything, whenever you try to run any program or anything you want to do in the computer, right? So the most important point, the most important thing which you have is memory. And then also, obviously, I mean, you have a processor as well, but the memory is very, very important point, right? I mean, very, very important. I mean, the most important thing I would say, because if you don't have memory in your computer, you can't do anything. You can't execute anything. So there are, I mean, various kinds of memory, basically. I mean, I will not go into the detail exactly what all kind of memory are there, because that is another different topic. I mean, if you want to speak on that, we can whole day speak on those things, right? I mean, so I will be specifically focused on the particular part which we want to discuss today. So here, the memories, right? I mean, if you see this picture, right? So we have a blue, this bluish color where, I mean, I have mentioned stack, and then heap, and then code, and global section, basically. So what happens when you try to execute your program? So your program gets loaded into the memory, and you have one portion of memory which is being allocated by operating system, that is called stack, which is not part of your executable, right? And then you have a heap that is also not part of your executable. Now code and other segments are part of your executable, basically your machine instructions. So we are going to focus on today on this part which we call stack. So why stack? We are specifically talking today because stack is very, very important, right? I mean, when you're writing a program, what goes behind the scene, how your program gets executed, and where, I mean, it all depends how you are going to use this memory, how you are going to program this memory. Because a stack is something which is limited in size. You cannot, I mean, use everything for stack and things like that. So, I mean, you have to be very, very careful when you're using this stack, right? Because it's a very limited amount of memory. It cannot be something like that. I mean, you can use it for anything. And because stack memory is very fast and limited in size, so you have to be very, very careful when you're dealing with stack memory. So we will see a couple of examples. So now quickly, if I'll see, I mean, this is a stack. So how our stack looks like, basically. So here you can see, I mean, this blue screen, right? So when I start executing my main function, so on the memory, basically what happens, this stack, I mean, it grows, I mean, it has addresses from higher memory to lower memory. So when you try to execute your function, so for example, the moment you will start executing your main function, it try to create some, it try to create or occupy some space onto your stack memory. So what all those things are? So for example, it has the return address, I mean, where this main function will go after execution, when execution finishes, and then the local variable of this stack. So you can see, I mean, I have this A here, and then on top of that, I mean, you have array, whatever I have allocated. So this whole things, I mean, whatever is related to main function is called main stack frame for main. And the moment you will invoke any other function, that function goes to the, I mean, on top of, basically from higher to lower address, on top of that frame, which was, currently, I mean, pushed. So the frame which is currently, on top, that is called the frame in execution, or basically stack frame. So all these things are having some defined size, okay? And that is why I'm saying again and again, it is very important how you deal with this kind of memory. So this is a, I mean, kind of overlook. I mean, you can think, I mean, this is how your program will look into the memory. So let's try to see, I mean, and let's try to visualize exactly how it looks into the memory, what happens, and I mean, how they are placed into the memory. And then we will see, I mean, lower to higher address quickly with the, I mean, a few examples of the code. So now if you see, I simply have, this main function, and in this I have these variables. So let's try to execute this program first. So if I just, start executing, so you will see on my screen, right? I mean, I have this breakpoint here, and I have this memory view here. So now, for example, if I just try to go, because I mean, as I said, I mean, every variable, it is stored onto this stack, and it must be having some address, right? So if I just type here A, so now you will observe, I went to the memory location, some memory location onto this stack. And if I just, try to execute it, so next, let me go to the next step, for example. So here you can see in the red, right? This red 4 bytes. So basically one pair is equal to 4 bytes. So basically these 4 pairs are nothing but your integer A. So A's value is 10. You can clearly see this is something like this. And if I just scroll little bit up, right? So as I said, stack grows from higher to lower memory address. So if this is stored in this location, so the next variable or next whatever variable I will be having onto the stack, it will go on top of it at the lower address, right? So if I just little bit scroll up, so you can see, I mean, you will see, I mean, this array has been allocated somewhere here. So if I'll go to the next step, right? So you can see what happens if I just, go to the address of array here. So you can see this one is here, okay? And now if I just go to the next station, next step, next extension. So you can see this 2 is here, right? So 1, 2, then 3, you can see 3, and then you can see 4, and then you can see 5. And immediately after that, you can see this A is here, right? Which is 10 basically, I mean, this variable. So you can see, I mean, every variable is placed on top of the last variable, right? So, and then you can see, I mean, they lies into the stack memory just next to each other. I mean, A was at some particular location, and on top of that, array is being allocated with 5 integer. So they are adjacent into the stack memory. So you can see they are just, instructions, right? I mean, the moment you execute it is just an instruction. So that is why we call this stack memories, quite fast. So I mean, it's quite fast as compared to other memories like heap and also, I mean, anyway, we will be discussing heap some other time. So now you can clearly see, I mean, how these variables are placed into the stack memory. Okay. So this is just a kind of thing. I mean, I wanted to show you how these are placed into the memory. Now let's move to the, other part where I wanted to show you explicitly what happens and what all goes behind the scene, why we should take care, and how those things I like stack overflow and stack corruption happens, and what exactly goes on those things, right? So yeah, just so when I said stack size is limited, so I mean, if you are programming on any language, any system, either Windows, Linux, and anything, so generally operating system defines a limit for your stack. So it can be dependent on the system, but there is a default limit for your stack. So I mean, in general, the stack size is always defined or default to 1 MB. 1 MB stack means what? Right? So 1 MB stack means you can have your stack limit, I mean maximum thing. I'll try to explain you what this 1 MB means. So the second point, I mean, when I call any function, so it should have some size, right? When this function, when I said, right, it is a frame. So that frame also has some size. So by default, that size is, I mean, in the user mode is 16 KB. So now 1 MB and 16 KB, what does this number means basically? So simply, if I ask, let's try to ask one question to ourselves. I mean, when I want to store number of integer, for example, I have 1 MB of a stack. How many integers I can store in my program variable on the stack, right? Do we have such limit, or we can store any number of variables? So that is where, I mean, you can just, you know, consider, I mean, this 1 MB of a stack. So for example, 1 MB is equal to how many bytes? So for example, 1024 into 1024 KBs, right? I mean, so if you multiply this number twice, basically 1024 and 1024, so you will get total number of bytes available to you for one program, 1 MB stack. So that is somewhere, I guess 10 lakh or some 26, yes, 1 crore 26 lakhs or something like that. So if you just want to calculate the number of integer you can store into your program, so you can just divide this number by 4 and you will get exactly the number of integer you can store into your program. For example, in your main function, these many integers you can store, right? And then I said, right, I mean, the stack frame size 16 KB means how many frames or how many function calls I can have with this 1 MB of memory, 1 MB of stack. So when I have a 16 KB of stack frame size, so you just divide this 1 MB of memory by 16 KB, you will exactly get 64, you know, the number of 64, which is nothing but the number of functions you can place onto this stack. And the moment you will try to call any other function within this, any other function call, I mean, apart from these 64 calls, you will get stack overflow because your stack, 1 MB of a stack is exhausted. This is one thing, right? I mean, how many? So generally, when you try to invoke recursion, people says in recursion goes into infinite state. There is nothing called infinite, right? It is something when your stack is exhausted, and I mean, when your stack will exhaust. So for example, if I try to run infinite recursion, so exactly after how many calls my stack will be exhausted. So if your stack is 1 MB and your stack frame size is 16 KB. So when I say stack frame means one function is equal to 16 KB frame. So how I can create exactly a 16 KB of function frame? So obviously, I mean 16 KB, you just divide by 4, right? So totally 4096 bytes exactly if you create, right? So if you create an array of 4096 integer, that is exactly the size of 16 KB, right? So 16 KB. So now if you create one function with the array size of 4096 and if you try to call this function in infinite loop, so this 16 KB is one frame, and the moment it reaches 64th call, you will get stack overflow. Okay? Because stack overflow can happen with, and again, stack overflow can happen with multiple reasons. So as I said, stack frame size is 16 KB. So if your program, you know, able to place these stack frames onto the stack, that is fine. If you have a single frame larger enough, like 1 MB, and if your program, if that when you are executing your program, and if that is not, you know, if it is not able to write into the overall 1 MB of space, even though it is a single frame, you will get stack overflow because it says this big stack frame you cannot write into the 1 MB of space. So for example, if I create if I allocate total, you know, 2.5 lakhs, basically 1.1 MB divided by 4, if I just calculate the number, whatever I will get, right? If these many numbers, bytes, I mean, you know, if you try to allocate into your main function and we will try to, you know, execute it, you may get, you know, Stack Overflow, because this becomes a very huge frame. And if you try to put it onto the stack, it will say Stack Overflow. And that is why it says, I mean, why you should use your stack memory very carefully, and where if these kind of scenarios are there, then you should go and use heap. Okay. So these are the few insight, and let's try to explore these insight, what exactly happens. I mean, when we try to violate these kind of rules using programming languages, and what exactly happens when you try to, you know, violate and go beyond these things. So let me again go to my, okay. So now let's take through the first case. There are 3 cases which I wanted to discuss mainly with you. So if you'll see the first case where I have, as I said, right, I mean, the main frame, the frame, I mean, if you allocate a number of variables, I mean, number of the memory equivalent to 1 MB. So here you can see what I am doing currently. I allocated a single array with size of 262,144. So this is exactly, I mean, if you divide 1 MB divided, if you divide 1 MB by 4, means for one integer takes 4 bytes. If I divide those many bytes by 4, these many, I mean, you know. So if I try to allocate memory for this, what happens? Okay. So if you want to see, I mean, what exactly happens, if this frame, it will be able to put it into the stack, it is fine. If not, you will start getting error. So I'll just, you know, for example, for your reference, I can simply do something like this. Okay. So now you can see I added few more things to allocate onto the stack. Now if I try to compile this, I'm not calling any function and nothing, right? So here it gives me some initial, okay, this is some initialization. So I'll just include this as well.
No, in the last line, you have to put a backslash.
Yeah. So just this thing. So now if I just try to compile, right? So you can see, I mean, this code would compile. And if I try to execute it, what happens? See, now it says again, Stack Overflow, right? Why? Because I have allocated exactly 1 MB of stack, and then I try to add it another integer into it. So now this frame becomes more than 1 MB. And the moment I try to place, I mean, the moment this function call will happen, this main will go, this stack frame will go into the stack. And where the stack is only 1 MB, limited in space, it is not able to put this frame into, you know, your stack. It says Stack Overflow. This is one case, right? Now, second interesting case would be like where what I want to do. This is one case, okay? Now imagine I have a function, okay? So now I have a function call inside my main function, okay? And now here, now what I'm trying to do, this is something different, right? So one way we have seen that we went or we have created a stack frame equivalent to 1 MB and we got Stack Overflow. Now let's see what happens when I'm calling a function, and inside that function I'm trying to do something, right? So let me invoke this function. So now if you'll see, let's try to visualize what exactly going behind the scene, right? So I have this integer I here. So if I just try to see the address of this integer, okay, here. So you can see, I mean, this I is being allocated here. And if I just do next, right? So as I said, I mean, the next variable will be placed on top of, you know, this I. So if I just say address of P, so now you can see when I say P, right? So this is the address where P is there, and just, you know, below that we have our variable I. So now what I'm trying to do when I'm saying P plus 1, so means wherever my I is present, from that location I want to go one more location, and there I want to write 10. So right up, you'll see here. So now you can see wherever P was there and I added 1 means I'm going into 4 bytes. So basically below, and I mean, if you see below the, I mean, at the higher address, I just wrote 64. And then again, I am trying to write 64, right? So it again wrote the 64 there. And the moment I go beyond that and I try to come out of this function, right? It says stack based buffer overrun. So here you will see what I said. that what happens when your function goes inside the stack. So it tried to place return address and then local variable, whatever being allocated. So we have seen here that we have allocated these local members. And the moment and after local members, I mean, I said below, there is a return address where this function wants to return, right? So what I tried to do here, I tried to, with these two statements, p+1 and p+2, I tried to overwrite my return address. So I overrode that address with these two instructions. And now the moment this execution is going to finish, so it will try to look at that return address. And it could not find that return address. And it says this is stack buffer overrun. So now imagine, every function when you try to call from the main, it has some return address, and after that it goes back to the main, right? So now imagine if I can corrupt this return address like this by writing 100 on that, I can write anything onto that memory location. And if I write something, for example, some malicious program, some virus, and I just somehow put place there, what will happen? It will try to execute that and my whole system can crash and I can take the control of the system, right? This is a potential security threat into your code. So that is why it is very important you should understand how your memory, stack memory works and how you should take care. So these kind of programming and these kind of things happens when you have, I mean, you can see, I mean, you need not to have a very large code base or something like that. This can be done with 4 lines of code. So that is why it is very important when you're writing code, what kind of code you should write when you are using multi-threaded environment or anything, or I mean, whenever you are trying to treat or deal with memory, you should be very, very careful how stack works and what exactly happens. So this is second case. Now let's try to look into the third case where, I mean, we have something like, this is the third case where what I'm trying to do, as I said, right? If I can make my frame, stack frame, one stack frame enough in size, right? Enough in size when I said, I mean, for example, now this function is equivalent to how much? 14 KB, right? I mean, 4096, if it multiplied by 4, this becomes 16 KB. And 16 KB is nothing but a default frame size, stack frame size, right? So if this is default stack frame size, so what happens? What happens? I mean, if I try to execute this, if you'll see. So now I am here, right? I mean, this is something, I mean, I'm trying to do recursion, right? So I just call this recursion function without having any limit. And if I just continue, right? So what happens? I mean, if I just remove this and if I continue, you will see again, I got the stack overflow, right? And if I want to see how many functions I could call, I mean, where exactly after calling how many functions it got, this stack overflow. So you will see all these are the, your stack frames. If I just, copy this and I'll paste into some, this screen. Here, if you'll see, you must be seeing my screen, right? So just I will remove the extra lines. So if you'll see, you can see exactly 64, 63, near to 63, 64th call, this got stack overflow, right? These many calls, I mean, foo calls it could make when I had infinite recursion, right? And exactly at 64th call, it got stack overflow. So this is the point which is very important, right? We should try to understand how various ways we got, these kind of various ways of, introducing or getting this problem into the code. So quickly, I mean, just want to summarize all those things. So when you are writing code, you should be very much aware that how you are going to use your stack. Always remember, stack is having limited size. Stack frame is having limited size. How you can introduce, I mean, if once these kind of problems happens, it's very, very difficult to debug those kind of problems, right? So for example, I mean, there are some interesting use case. Quickly, I want to tell you, like I want to just leave you with some thoughts, like what happens. So for example, there is a feature into Visual Studio. If I just say enable runtime, basic runtime check, So for example, if I just enable that flag and, and if I try to run it. So now if you'll see, if I just run this, it gives me something very interesting. Okay. 1 second. I just, need to call this function, right? So, okay. I need to just call this function. So if you just, I'm just leaving you and you will understand why these companies like Google and things like that, they ask for the understanding of fundamentals, understanding of, algorithms, data structure and programming languages like C, C++, why they focuses on those things specifically. So now you can see the moment I enabled, it exactly shows me that stack around the variable I was corrupted. Now imagine what they have done into this, this tool, that at runtime it is trying to tell you that you have corrupted your stack around the variable I. Here it goes lot of fundamental knowledge of, your data structure, algorithms, and languages like C++, because this whole Visual Studio tool is written by Microsoft in C++. Okay. So, I would say, if you see how it is analyzing all those things, this is very important. And these concepts are very, very important when you're trying to learn actual programming. This is called programming. Basically, programming is nothing but programming your computer resources like memory, processor in an efficient way. Otherwise, you're programming whatever, things you learn, it is just a programming syntax. So this is very, very important that you understand these things, and these programming languages help you to program those things in such a way. So it should be very good combination. And that you can see, this kind of tool, right? The performance of this tool, that is why Microsoft, Google, and these companies look how you understand these internal things of the languages and fundamentals, data structure. And there are a lot of data structure algorithms, language features gone into this kind of feature. So with saying all those things, I will just keep a pause on today's talk, and probably in the next talk we will talk about heap memory, how to see what exactly happens with heap, and a lot of things, comparing these two things. And we will be doing all those kind of insight kind of technology insight sessions in future. So probably that's what I would encourage, that we are trying to build a very good programmers community. So start participating, involve kind of your friends into this community. This is a very good chance to learn all those things. And anytime, if you have any doubt or something like that related to these kind of technology or things like that, you can reach out to me anytime. In WhatsApp group, you have my number. In that you had my LinkedIn profile as well. So anytime you can reach out to me, discuss things. Whatever, I'm happy to help. So I hope you enjoyed this session overall, because due to this time constraint, because this was a first kind of session, so I was not sure. If we keep it for a long time, then how you guys will have or think about it. So that's the reason we just kept for a small period of time. So in future we can have a longer session or something like that. So with that, I would just take a pause, and thank you everyone for joining. Our first kind of tech talk today with examples, and that is what we wanted to do. And we are based in Lucknow. So here we are trying to build a interesting programming community with very young and dynamic, talented programmers, and that kind of community we are trying to build with our overall experience, whatever we have. So with that, thank you everyone once again. Yeah, over to you, Rohan.